The biblical foundations of the priesthood actually began in the Old Testament. We have images of ancient holy men wandering around encountering biblical leaders. The first one being that of the form of Melchizedek, and that's recorded in Genesis 14 with him as being the king of Salem, coming out and blessing Abraham along his journey and blessing God and offering up, interestingly enough, bread and wine to Abraham as part of that blessing. This figure of Melchizedek will weave in and out of the Old Testament narrative, kind of in between the cross sections of the temple priesthood, the Levitical priesthood, based on, of course, Moses and Aaron, and the establishment of that sacrificial system. But you'll still see references to Melchizedek. He's mentioned again in Psalm 110, and then later on in the New Testament, Hebrews takes that image up when it begins to work when it begins the work of justifying what a Christian priesthood will look like. It'll often be mentioned that those people are being set aside after the order of Melchizedek. In the ordination services, there are references to that even up into this day, and that sense that there is a line of both authority and mission coming from weaving through the Old Testament, eventually coming to a specific apex point with Jesus, and then being diffused out from Jesus to the apostles, to the early disciples, and really to all Christians, because all of us have, we all have a calling, whether it's lay or ordained, but there's this sense that this authority is given out and flowing out from Jesus as part of a priesthood that's set aside to carry about specific functions within the greater church. And that is probably one of the more important aspects of priestly life. It's not that you are allowed to do everything in the church. You're actually being set aside to do specific tasks within the church. And that authority to do that comes from Jesus, comes from the apostles. Literally, the word apostle means to be sent on a mission. And so in our structure as Episcopalians, we see that authority now resting in people like bishops and priests and deacons, then organizing that ministry in the local context, with the laity being the vast majority of the ministers of the gospel in any community, and with the priests and the deacons being set aside for very specific functions, which harken back to those days in the Old Testament where the Levitical priests would offer sacrifice and would be working out the administrative functions of the temple on a daily basis. And that's all woven into that story today of what a priest is and looks like. And so there's a great deal of connectivity from the past working through Jesus into the present and into the future.